recording. Well, everybody, just want to get us introducing you to Austin Parkinson today from Auspark Marketing. We are super excited. This is a topic that Austin and I've talked about that
Mm.
could really be a game changer for a lot of people, especially small businesses and organizations that honestly, you need to multiply your resources as much as possible. Austin, I'm going to turn it over to you because I know you're going to introduce yourself, give us some background about who you are, what you do, and then we're going to jump into lead generation for 2026 and how AI can actually help scale that.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you, Chris, for the brief introduction there. So this presentation, when I was putting this together, I really was like, what do I talk about? What do I not talk about? I don't want to bore everyone to the point where they're falling asleep on me here, and I'm reiterating all the small details. So I really hope you guys get some good takeaways from this. My goal is to really change the way people understand the opportunity of what lead generation looks like moving forward, especially with AI being introduced into the picture. So, as Chris mentioned, my name is Austin. I'm the founder of Auspark. My background is primarily in small businesses, focusing on the growth and development with a focus on the sales and marketing side of small businesses. That's at least where my professional background is. And then along the way, and in order to achieve that, I've gained a good understanding of building lead generation systems, things that consistently bring in leads, and also AI and automation systems to nurture those leads. Primarily, it used to be automation, but with AI coming into the forefront, it has exploded the capabilities and what you can actually achieve. So, throughout my professional career, I have had the ability to work for several different types of businesses in the small to medium sized business industry. And my portfolio has delivered a 5x return on ad spend for my performance. Again, that would be one or for every $1 invested, $5 back. So we call that money printing, right? And anything that was ever given to me, I would always try to turn that into something profitable and scalable for the company I was with at the time. After being in a professional sector, working for small businesses and helping them generate revenue, I ended up actually working for a marketing agency, large marketing agency out of Columbus, Ohio, where I had the opportunity to experience firsthand, what it's like to work with so many different types of businesses. During my time there, I managed 70 different accounts from various industries across the market. And then, of course, adding additional, at this point, I estimate that I've well exceeded 70 plus ad accounts that I've managed and millions in budget and ad spend. And along those accounts, all of them different. A lot of people say, well, you work in a niche, you have this type of business that you help serve. A lot of these businesses, from memory, not a single one of them is the same. So it's a very diverse background that focuses on B2B, B2C, local services, niche markets, to kind of give you an idea of how out of left field things can get. Some of the weirdest ones I've had is there was one industry I was in where we were doing pet funerals. Was a market, and another one would be a small nonprofit, right? Small nonprofits trying to go to market their strategy there, and then all the way up to large health networks. I mean, just the list goes on and on. So definitely have a variety of experiences in my basket. And I don't say that to brag. It's more so of the idea of experiencing both realities. What it looks like when a business is spending $200,000 in advertising and losing money and not having any return on ad spend versus a company that's spending $50,000 and is achieving well over $250,000 in return, or even $260,000, which is the example that I'm really pointing to with this. So, with all of that out of the way, I really want to kind of get a feel for everybody in the room, who everybody is, and just kind of get an idea of what you guys are hoping to achieve here. So, if you guys could, for me, just curious if you guys are in need of lead generation, looking to generate more leads, or if you have enough leads, you're just drowning with the day to day. If you guys could drop a one or a two for me in the chat, just so I know if I should focus a little more heavier on some of these other things here. Should be able to see it here.
I'm seeing a trend toward number one there for you, Austin.
I was about to say, I can't really see the chat. Okay. So
Yeah,
I'm trying to find it here. I'm not a Zoom native. Okay.
no, everybody's saying one over here. So
Okay.
yeah,
It's
that's
the
the
clear
direction I want
one.
to go.
So that helps. So for when it comes to generating leads, you're going to get a bunch of good things out of this presentation. If there's anything that I really hope I concrete for you guys is how there's this mindset right now for high quality leads and just how silly all of that kind of is. And for clarity, I tried to see in the chat there. You guys can still see my screen, correct?
Yep.
Perfect. I'll keep going. So what I'm hoping that you guys walk away with through this presentation that I've created here is the future of lead generation, where AI is kind of taking us in this information era, and the better way to generate leads in 2026, how you can shift away from this bottom of funnel, high quality lead mindset, and more importantly, how that strategy will produce more leads for less for your business. And the thing that I'm sure a lot of you are here for, how AI makes all of this scalable and manageable chaos. And if we have enough time near the end here, I'll also go over an example of what I would recommend for a roofing company. And we can build out exactly the whole funnel in its entirety in real time while we're on the call here. And as a bonus to everybody, because I know we're all snowed in, and well, at least a majority of us are to some extent here. As a token of appreciation for your time, because I know some of you guys could have kids screaming, you might have people home, it could be chaos over there. I want to give everybody here an opportunity to meet with me if they are interested. And this is purely for people who are attending here. You'll have an opportunity at the end of this when we're doing questions to book a free one-on-one with me to go over your lead generation strategy for your own business. So if anything hits with you in this and you're like, man, it'd be really nice to be able to sit down and go a little bit more in depth, there's your opportunity to do so. So the biggest question that I think needs to be addressed, because many businesses call it several things, is what exactly is a lead, right? To some people, a lead is somebody who is going to close, somebody who is in the market right now. I can't tell you how many people I've worked with in my career and just as a business owner that think that leads are people who are just here to buy stuff now. I have to do nothing for them. And that is the complete wrong mindset with this. At the end of the day, the way that we identify a lead is it's somebody who is simply raising their hand for more information or have identified themselves as having a problem that your service or product might solve. Again, these are people who are encountering problems. All businesses exist because we solve problems. And whenever someone's feeling a pain, they're looking for answers, and we're here to help them through that journey. They're raising their hand saying, that's me, right? A lead is not someone who is here today, ready to buy today, right? And when you treat leads like that and you have those expectations, it can lead to a lot of bad downstream economics, right? So the best way to remember what a lead is, it's someone who has a potential fit or an active interest. They're simply just raising their hand. So what I've noticed businesses get wrong, most of the time it comes down to these three things with an emphasis on the last point I'll go over here. So the first thing that I see businesses get wrong when it comes to lead generation is there's this mindset there's not enough leads for them, okay? They really underestimate what the total market share of people who are experiencing issues that your business does solve and the amount of leads that are in a space. I'm serious when I say this. The odds of what people think their lead potential is 30 versus 500, okay? The reality is there's more people than you think. It's just, are you engaging and attracting them into your funnel the right way? My second thing that I see businesses do is that they always have these unrealistic lead expectations, right? They go, man, I want high quality leads. And you're going to hear me beat up and down all over the term high quality lead throughout this whole entire presentation because it's just such a silly term, right? People think that a high quality lead is someone who's coming in today and they're going to buy by the end of the week and they're ready to buy right now, right? That's all I want. Just give me all of those every single day. And the reality is that that's not how these systems work. And we'll get into that a little bit later here, but it's a trap that a lot of people fall into. And then finally here, a lot of businesses have their lead generation kind of backwards. They're really focusing on generating leads at the finish line. A lot of the times, once when consumers have already been exposed to a competitor, already have their mind made up on what solution they're looking for. And I call this whole entire situation a uphill battle that a lot of businesses face, because instead of you being able to inform the customer, educate them, and help them evaluate what they need, you're competing with them already being on your customer's good list, and you're trying to convince them, hey, work with me, and it becomes a race to the bottom, right? So the reason why I highlight all three of these points is because it doesn't matter who you are. 90% of people I know and businesses I've worked with have been making the mistake of number three. And even the most well-intentioned businesses fall into these traps, which is why so many of them fail to turn their marketing dollars into profit. It's because they're just going at the end of the funnel and wasting resources. So to visualize this a little bit better, I wanted to make a slide and I wanted to dedicate it to what all these businesses are doing wrong, right? To really outline that for you guys. But all of the problems that I list on this slide previously are all symptoms of what it looks like when your business is targeting only at the very bottom of the lead decision-making process. You're only attracting leads when they're ready to act. You're not trying to help them as they're trying to get information. You're not trying to help them evaluate. A lot of businesses marketing primarily only focuses down here in the very bottom where people are trying to act, because that's what high quality leads are, right? That's the jargon term there. So if you look on this chart, you'll notice that there's a lot more volume up in the information phase, and that's where your 500 leads are. There's about 200 leads that are in this evaluation phase right here. And that's where your middle ground is, people who are actively looking for a solution, right? And the whole entire input output, this doesn't just go for business, this goes for life in general. Whenever someone has an issue, the first thing that they're going to go do is they're going to try to get more information to figure out if this is something that's manageable. Is this something that they can handle on their own? And then from there, if it isn't, they're going to move to the next stage where now they're evaluating what their options are. You know, that could be them getting someone out there to give them a quote, tell them that something doesn't look right, right? And then from there, ultimately, there's even more fall off. Some of the people may or may not end up taking that action and actually moving forward after their evaluation. But this is the general decision-making process everybody goes through with anything. They get information, they evaluate their options, and then they make a decision, right? So many times, these businesses are just focusing on people who are trying to make a decision, and that's where they start their lead generation. And the way I phrase it is, you know, you're not wrong. To experience all of these problems is very real, and it happens to a lot of businesses. And it's because you're simply at the wrong stage of the process, right? You know, you're zoomed in. It's like the equivalent of speed dating, only to engaged people. And crazy analogy, but it's all I could really find. It's the one thing that made the most sense to me. You're speed dating with only engaged people, and you already know that they're engaged, and now you're trying to convince them to leave their fiance, right? If you weren't the one who gave them the information or helped them evaluate their situation, and now you're just expecting them to move forward with you, and that's where your lead gen starts, you're setting yourself up for that uphill battle where now it's a race to the bottom, okay? So with all that in mind, what is the true benefit and what is the reality of going up funnel and starting lead generation sooner? So right now, 90% of the businesses we work with, they are focused only on action leads. And what a lot of businesses don't know is that that is a total of 3 to 8% of the entire market that is looking for your services, right? So you're only trying to get 3 to 8%, and it's also everyone else is doing that as well. They're all trying to go after these people, which is why they're more expensive. There's not a lot of them. And again, all these numbers that I'm going through on this slide here are real industry benchmarks and data and performance records that we have valid, like we have at least something similar that we have seen with the clients that we've worked with internally here as well. You know, the one benefit that you get at the action phase is 20% of your leads become customers, right? And if you notice on each of these, there's going to be some numbers down here. There's going to be a CPL and a CAC. CPL is your cost per lead, so what it costs for you to get a lead at each stage on average. And then your cost to acquire customers, your CAC, which is how much it costs for you to actually get a customer. And I know some of you guys might be looking at these numbers and saying, well, I would pay $600 all day and night for a customer. How is that the average? This is for services industry. And believe me, this is if your funnel is dialed in, right? And you have a good process that people are going through. This is pretty benchmark for what you can expect. A lot of businesses are about 5 or 6 times higher than what I'm showing you here. But just to give you an idea of what the true value is once when you have things set up, I wanted to use something a little bit more dialed in. So on the other side here, if someone decides to go towards the information route and start generating leads at the information phase of someone's journey, number one, the lead volume is insane. You go from 30 to 500, right? And again, when I show these metrics, these are monthly metrics. So imagine if you had 500 leads a month that were coming in, right? If you were hitting full saturation in your market, how crazy that would be. And in reality, 50 to 60% of all leads in your market are in the information phase of their discovery. And although only 4% of your leads become customers after follow-up in a good funnel, your cost per lead drops by a tenth. And your cost to acquire a customer drops by half. So imagine doubling the efficiency of your marketing by going up funnel. It's crazy, right? And then in the middle here, you have your evaluation leads. If you start trying to generate leads when people are evaluating options, this is still a very large market. A little bit less, you get the 10% people who are going from lead to customer with the follow-up process. But overall, your cost per lead is way more affordable and manageable than just focusing on action leads alone. And again, I'll let those numbers speak for themselves. So the question comes down to, why is nobody doing this? All of the data that I shared with you here are consistent data points. These are proven metrics, benchmarks. Everyone knows that this will happen if they do this. The issue becomes volume, okay? How many people here have a team? Put a 1 and 2 in chat, and Chris, let me know what we're seeing here. How many people's team can handle 700 leads from a varying range of people who need information, people who are qualifying, and people who are looking to act right now? How many people think that their sales team can handle it? Put a 1 if you think your sales team can handle 700 leads a month. But put a 2 if you know that's just not true. Chris, I don't even know if I need you to answer this because I already know it's 1s, right?
Yeah, there's lots of 2s in here again.
No way.
Shocking.
So the reality of this is that 700 leads is too much to manage, and nobody, and I mean nobody, can really manage that level of volume, because the more leads that you have, the harder it is to respond fast. Follow-up becomes super inconsistent, and your sales team will complain. Believe me, they will. All I get is tire kickers. I have junk leads. This is awful. Why? I'm tired of having to explain to people the same thing 500 times, and then eventually your leads go cold and you just wasted all of your money and the sanity of your team. So this is why all businesses default back to the fewer leads, high action intent, higher cost, more price pressure. It's because it's more manageable that way. Until now, right? We are hitting a point where the very existence of AI is hitting a point where AI paired with automation actually makes this whole entire process scalable, right? Instead of your team handling the nurture, the warm outreach, getting people warmed up and getting them to the point where they're ready to make a decision, that no longer just relies on people. And we've been building systems that purely use AI to get people to the finish line where they're ready to close. And a lot of people hear the term AI and they go, oh, I'm going to replace my whole team with it. AI is not here to replace your team. Believe it or not, all the sales team members that you have could be doing so much more volume and truly enjoying what they're doing because they don't have to do all the tedious little tasks and they don't have to carry people through the journey. You have a system that's built that already does all of that. It will make your team better and more efficient. So, in the ideal world and what right now can be achieved, AI, at least in our business and operations that we have for clients, handles all of the heavy lifting. It means from lead education to nurturing, it helps qualify, right? And it also reaches out instantly to leads. We have it set up so if a form comes in within 5 minutes, right? And there's studies that are done on this. If you do not reply within the first 5 minutes you receive a lead, your odds of qualifying them drop 22 times, right? So 220,000 or 22,000% odds of you qualifying them out the window right there. So we have it set up so AI will, within that first 5 minutes, reach out to them, talk to the person on the phone, evaluate them right then and there, and try to get them to go into a favorable action where a sales team member can handle it. Another thing that AI is great for is nurturing all the touch points to and between a customer. It acts more as a layer between your sales team and your leads. You can build a whole entire system that seamlessly educates and warms up people until they're ready to meet with a rep. So you can capitalize on all of this, right? It's very good with handling objections and also can identify when it's the time to hand it off to the sales team. And in return, the only thing that your sales team does is what matters. They focus only on the relationship side, closing the deals, following up with people's, and focusing more on referral-based initiatives, right? Building relationships, the things that truly add value that sales members truly enjoy in their job. The whole reason why they're in sales, they can focus more time on that. So with all that in mind, to kind of share with you with what AI can already do and current capabilities, AI is able to make phone calls. It is able to send SMS and it is able to email, okay? Both inbound, so if someone's calling to you, it can pick up the phone and have an actual conversation. If someone's texting inward, it can text them back. If someone's sending an email, it can write and draft an email going back to them. And outbound. So if you wanted the AI to go and solicit leads, right? You get data. Now you want AI to go out, of course, with permission. You can't just solicit people without their permission here. Okay, I'm not saying do that. But AI can then also go outbound, making phone calls, warming people up, right? The AI phone service, we have it set up with our clients to a point where 90% of people have no idea that the person that they're talking to is an AI. And it's really crazy how far it has come and how far it's probably going to continue to go, right? These are systems that need to be built in businesses now because they're not going anywhere. They're just getting bigger, right? So when we talk about the future of lead generation, we're in 2026 right now. Obviously, it's going to get faster and faster and faster. Things are going to get better and better. Who will the big winners really be in businesses? And they're really going to be the people who capture demand earlier through the information and evaluation phases. They also own all of their own data. You know, data privacy is becoming more of a concern as technology gets more interconnected. You've got to be prepared in building your own data at this moment. It's very, very important that you're doing that. Also, the businesses that respond instantly to leads. People are going to start getting a more grandiose feeling of, I want someone to be able to reach out to me immediately with my problem after I submit a form. That's going to become expected in the future, right? They want to be immediately connected. And that's going to be the hidden intent behind a lot of these lead magnets and generation techniques. The businesses that are also going to win are the ones who can personalize and follow up at scale. AI, of course, is great for this. It can nurture by pain points and objections. And the real winners are the ones that aren't letting humans do that. And I say humans, then it makes me feel like a robot when I say that. But your sales team should be focusing more on the front face because it can get very confusing behind the scenes when you're managing all these leads. So when AI is moving people over to humans, that is the true winner is someone who can properly identify at what point that happens, right? And All of this comes with the market shifting as these action leads are getting more expensive. The information demand is getting more valuable, and follow up is truly becoming the differentiator between having a lead come in and actually closing that lead and making them high quality, right? Your competitive advantage is really becoming speed and relevance to follow up, right? How quickly are you addressing their problem, convincing them to move forward with an action? And with those in mind and building a system out that does that, you will be able to compete with the larger companies and beat them out, even though they have higher budgets than you. So, what is the better way to generate leads? There is a lot on this slide. Promise you, I'm only going to talk about the things that matter here. The better way to generate leads is to have something for each stage of the process. When people are going through information, evaluation, and action, have a place for them to get off and do what they need to do, right? Um, Down here, you can see that we have a little marker that shows you everything that AI and automation can currently handle, right? Designing ads, building ads, sending that traffic to an information source rather than a hard action source where you're trying to get them to buy now. Try to let them educate themselves a little bit more. Make a warm introduction, send them to an information offer, right? That offer could be something, let's say someone wakes up in the morning and they see they have a rash on their skin. Their first thing's not going to be go to the doctor. They're probably going to look it up online, see if it's something that's concerning. And if it's not, they're not even going to get into the evaluation phase if they're for certain it's not an issue. But if it is an issue, then they might evaluate, well, is the dermatologist open? Is there someone I can see now without having to schedule this appointment? Then they start hitting that evaluation phase, right? So I think it's very important that your funnel that you build out, the AI that you build out, starts at information and keeps in mind the evaluation phase that all of your customers are going to go through based off of that information piece that you were giving. And most importantly, it segments them. If it can segment them based off of their pain point, it can follow up in a truly unique and personalized way, which eventually leads to them nurturing and graduating the lead into taking an action where your team would actually take over and, again, close the deal, focus on retention and referrals. So if there's one thing I really want to make sure everyone walks away with here today is that this idea of buying high quality leads, it's extremely silly, right? You might get leads that are high quality and come through and close. And to you, you think that there's a common pattern, right? It's not. The only way that you can control the quality of leads that you get is by building a system that delivers them. So down here at the bottom, if you see, I have stop buying high quality leads, create them. Everybody who is making an action today at one point was at the information stage. They all go through the same process, start earlier, and make a truly remarkable system that allows them to become a high quality lead. So I wanted to kind of step out of everything that we've talked about here and give you a very real example of how our current clients are utilizing AI. And how they're integrating it into their workspace when it comes to sales and marketing, because I thought that'd be very important and potentially valuable to all of you. So a lot of our clients, after we're done setting up an AI system, the way that they humanize their AI is very, very interesting and fascinating. The AI is essentially becoming a person of their team who is, again, that in-between spot between when a lead comes in and before the sales team manages them. Serious when I say this, there are some of our clients that call their AI by name and go, oh yeah, you spoke to Grant, right? Yeah, Grant's not a real person, but the people who are coming into the business have no idea that it's AI. That's how good these systems are working. So it's almost like they're adopting this AI as their own employee, right? And the way that they're able to do this is they're giving the AI their own email, its own phone number. They're giving it a unique profile picture that looks like a human, so people aren't thinking that it's AI. They're also giving it its own email signature with a basic job title of something that could be virtual assistant, something that doesn't outright say AI, but if you really thought about it, you'd be like, this is an AI, right? And they're giving it a normal name. And It is essentially becoming an autonomous but monitored employee, right? And again, they're interacting with it as if it is one of their own. And 90% of the time, people have no idea that they're even interacting with an AI. But if they ever ask about it to the AI will disclose that, yes, you're right. I am an AI. Would you like to speak to a human? And immediately take care of any rebuttals that could come or the potential downsides of using the technology. So, in summary, the most important part of any lead generation funnel is to capture leads intent, nurture, and convert. AI and automation are now officially in play to take care of the first two of these funnels, right? You can create a lead magnet, build a landing page, run ads to that landing page, get people to fill out the lead magnet, the guide, the quiz, the checklist. In that process, you collect their first name and you also collect some segmenting data. And typically, we recommend getting segmenting data that does pain and urgency. And from that point, automations will assign them to the AI with the brain that can do all the heavy lifting. And AI's job then becomes instantly responding to leads over email, SMS, and phone, educating and building trust along the way while pushing people towards that ultimate goal of booking the call or the action that you're really driven to do to get them in touch with the sales team. AI's job is to educate, but also keep the door open for if people are ready to move forward, they can. And with a system like this, as long as you're doing your proper lead capturing, you can handle any objections even before they come up, because you can ask questions ahead of time about budget, timeline, and fit. And AI can then sell to that unique circumstance. So the last part here, of course, we all know this one is the sales side, where once when people are ready to convert, you have someone on your team who's able, on their end, all they see is a booked appointment, a quote request, a sales conversation that's coming in, right? And they can focus on what really matters, which is closing, delivering, retaining, and focusing on those relationships and referrals. Again, high quality isn't a lead type. It's a result of a system. So with that out of the way, I do have a live example I want to give to you guys here. And we are still good on time, so I'm going to hop into this here. So for this example, I wanted to get a practical use to kind of show you how you can craft your own high-level information offer, right? What an information offer looks like, what a funnel would look like. So for this example, I picked a roofing company, a company that is dealing with hailstorms, roof leaks. They're trying to get more people because that's relevant to their business. Obviously, who needs a new roof? Someone whose roof is leaking, right? Someone who's having issues or someone who might have a potential claim for insurance, right? Our goal with this example that I'm walking through is to capture demand before the competitors do. So the first stage is, of course, we want to capture that initial touch point in the information stage. So when we're thinking about building out a funnel in the information stage, you have to think of what are people looking for, right? If someone just had a giant hailstorm and you're going to run an ad in the area where it was radar indicated that there was a hailstorm, what do you think a lot of people are going to be looking for, especially first-time homeowners? They're probably going to be like, what do I do after a hailstorm before I call insurance? How do I fix a leaky roof? How do I do these different things, right? If you can play in to these examples and target appropriately, you can get a lot of lead generation. So for the example of the hailstorm, obviously you'd give them a free magnet that talks about, hey, here's what you need to do before you get insurance involved. You need to take pictures. You need to go around the back. Don't go up on the roof yet because that can be dangerous. You might want to do this. And then at the end of that lead magnet, you might put a little blip that says, if you'd like someone to come out or get an opinion right now, scan this code and you can get someone to video call in and look at the damage to tell you how serious it is. Just some examples here. Again, this is your free guide and checklist option. Step 2 would be the next phase. So with that lead magnet, obviously you're going to be collecting all the basic information in order for them to get access to this information that you have. They're going to be giving you their name, email, phone number, and permission to solicit them. That's an important one. And then along with that, a few additional fields that allow you to qualify who they are, how important they are, where do they belong in your funnel, right? So the three qualifying questions that we'll pick in this example is, when did the storm happen? Obviously, if someone had a storm happen 5 years ago, going to be kind of hard to get insurance to kind of help, right? Have them explain the symptoms, like what's like the biggest issue that they're facing and how urgently are they wanting to get this fixed. If you can identify those things, you can create a truly unique system to funnel them through, to educate them on, explain into their pain points, their symptoms, help solve these problems that they're having, and let them pick, right? Then AI from there will follow up over an email, SMS. Typically, what we build out is a 30-day campaign where AI is consistently following up with these leads right as they come in, within the first 30 days, trying to get them to book into the sales process, right? And during that time, they go over education and objection, and all call to actions point to our big thing, which will be, in this example, I believe we have it so that way whenever someone is having like an urgency situation, all they would need to do is schedule an appointment for someone to call them over a video call, right? But where you really earn bonus points in these qualifying and nurturing phases is if you add some urgency to it. Like you give them a 7-day limited time offer or a 14-day offer. If you build that in, even if it's not really an amazing deal and it's something you were going to do for free anyway, add the urgency there. And then lastly, graduate them to the action. As I mentioned, the free live video roof review, where, if somebody's having pain right now, wants someone to talk to them right now, why not dedicate a guy whose job is, hey, I got a video call from somebody scheduled on my calendar. Let me look at their roof, confirm the damage, and most importantly, get someone out there to schedule, or get someone out there and schedule an inspection for someone to go out on site if needed, right? It's a very easy way, front to finish, to have a lead generation system for a roofing company, minus all the TMI details that I don't have time to cover